From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Sharia court in Zamfara sentences 3 women to prison for desecrating the Holy Quran. Federal High Court in Abuja strikes out 8 terrorism charges against IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. Water scarcity hits residents of Niger State. And on the foreign scene, EU adopts fresh sanctions against Russia, including coal import ban. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I'm Diron Ifade. The news in details. An upper Sharia court in Gusau, Zamfara State has sentenced 3 women to 5 years and 6 months imprisonment for desecrating the Holy Quran. Presiding Qadi Garba Gusau said the judgment is based on the evidence and witnesses presented before the court, as well as the inability of the accused persons and their counsel to produce witnesses to disprove charges leveled against them. Gusau said the offense of the 3 women, Rabi Bello, Hazira Bello, and Hafsati Isa, is punishable under sections 122, 123, and 287 of the Zamfara State Sharia Penal Code. Counsel to the accused persons, Jamilu Ashafa, expressed dissatisfaction with the judgment, saying it is contrary to the Islamic legal system, as the 5 male witnesses presented before the Sharia court are not sufficient to pass judgment. In 2019, the women were accused of dropping manuscripts of the Holy Quran in toilets and refuse dumps for ritual purposes. Federal High Court Abuja on Friday struck out 8 of the 15 terrorism felony charges preferred by the federal government against the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Justice Nyako, while ruling on a preliminary objection filed by the IPOB leader, struck out the charges. Mardia Umar has the details.
While the trial was ongoing at the Federal High Court in Abuja, there were heavy security presence around the court premises. This is according to the new directive from the federal government that all terrorism-related offences is to henceforth be conducted in camera. Trial Justice Binta Nyako adjourned to rule on the application after she heard arguments from both Kanu's lawyer, Michael Zokobe, and the prosecution counsel, Shuaibu Labaran. Zokobe argued that his client was entitled to bail, considering that he still enjoys the presumption of innocence under the 1999 Constitution as amended.
Counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 15. Those are the ones that are remaining. The other ones were quashed. 6, 7, 8, 9. So we then proceeded to move our bail application. That the defendant, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, deserves to be granted bail.
Federal government's lawyer Labaran urged the court to decline the bail request.
And arguments were proffered, and it was also in their argument that Nnamdi Kanu had never flouted any of the conditions of the bail. And we have argued vehemently, showing to the world, showing to the court, that he has actually flouted all the bail conditions. And that was the reason why the court has ordered for his, revoked his bail and ordered for his arrest.
Well, as it stands, the 18th of May 2022 has been set aside for the ruling of his bail application. And in the same month, on the 26th of May 2022, the continuation of his trial will continue, but at a venue that will be communicated at a later date. Mardia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And in a related development, economic activities in the southeast were today crippled following a sit-at-home order by pro-Biafra agitators group IPOB. The order by the group was to draw support for the IPOB leader whose court case came up for hearing today, 8th of April 2022. A visit to major streets within Owerri, the Imo State capital, revealed that there was total compliance with the sit-at-home call. People who on a normal day would have gone to their various places of work were seen hanging around their streets in a bid to honor the call. Some respondents who spoke to newsmen said they stayed at home for their safety while expressing bitterness over the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu.
We want him to be released. We all want freedom, and we don't expect any other thing than freedom. We want him to be released. So we are observing the sit-at-home in regards of we are respecting him. That is why we are sitting at home. We are respecting the court that he's going for today. So that's why we are staying at home.
It's obvious we all in the East know the current situation of things now, so we all know what's going on, so nobody really wants to get hot outside there. So we all decided to stay home, not because of the sit-at-home, but because of the insecurities out there today. So that's the main reason why I'm home today. It's not because of the lockdown or anything.
Number one, my reasons is to have my life, because the issue of insecurity in the country is quite alarming. First of all, who is alive is the only person who wants to work. That's my main reason of staying at home. The other reason is because of the agitation from the people of Southeast.
And this will continue to happen like this every time. We will continue to observe sit at home like this until he is released. To every freedom that must be sacrificed. It's a little sacrifice, but we have to bear it.
To say what we are losing, we've been losing things since this agitation started. We've been losing so many things. Lives have been lost. Treasures, business are shut down, so we don't even have anything to lose if we sit at home today and save our lives. You understand? So sitting at home today, we don't even lose much. It's just the business.
And back to the courts, an Akwa Ibom State High Court sitting in Ikodekpene has sentenced a 31-year-old man, Nsikak Joseph Udofia, to death for armed robbery and rape. Nsikak Udofia, an indigene of Utu Edem Usong in Ikodekpene local government area, was found guilty and convicted by Justice Augustine Odoko. Udofia was said to have raped a 16-year-old senior secondary school 2 student on January 21, 2018, in an uncompleted building in Utu Edem Usong, Ikodekpene. 3 weeks before the rape incident, Udofia, a secondary school dropout, and others now at large, was said to have robbed a shoe mender, one Gabriel Akwan Victor, on December 31, 2017, while on his way home from work. In his judgment, Justice Odoko found the accused guilty of a 2-count charge. In the first count of robbery, Justice Odoko sentenced Nsikak Joseph Udofia to death by hanging and sentenced him to life imprisonment on the second count charge of rape. At least 3 persons have been killed, while several others have sustained injuries in attacks on a Rumache Madala community in Bassa Kukoki ward of Shiroro local government area of Niger State. Many others were abducted during the attack, which took place Thursday afternoon. Co-convener concerned Shiroro youths of Niger State, Sani Abubakar Yusuf Koki, told correspondents that the bandits attacked the community with sophisticated weapons. During the deadly encounter, about 3 people were reportedly killed, while many others were abducted. Koki said kidnap for ransom has become a common phenomenon in the locality. The continued onslaught by bandits against farming communities in Niger State has displaced thousands of people who have relocated to other parts of the state, particularly Minna, the state capital. The relocation is to enable them look for more secure places as their places of abode have become too volatile for human habitation. The report.
In these communities that are predominantly agrarian, the situation has continued to worsen as more people troop into the city to seek refuge from rampaging bandits. While the state government and other stakeholders appear to be overwhelmed, affected communities continue to look up to the government to enable them return home.
We want to go and dig hole to find what to eat. We want government's assistance.
Presently, the IDPs, mostly women and children, are staying in uncompleted buildings, while others are putting up at low-cost apartments in Meitumbi, Nkangwe, Boso, Meikunkunle, Ngwan Kadara, among others, to make ends meet. Some of them have taken to mining gold.
What is disturbing is that we cannot access our farms. Before we used to go and return, but now we can no longer do so.
Abdullahi Erena is one of the landlords accommodating some of the IDPs.
Whatever God plans will come to pass, but we are appealing to government to assist us. At least I have few people I take care of here. Whatever assistance government can give us, let them give us so that the people can return to their homes.
And still on security, Abuja-Kaduna Highway is recording increased traffic as it is the only alternative route for passengers since the shutting down of train services. Terrorists on Monday, March 28, attacked a Kaduna-bound train, killing 8 people while injuring and abducting many. Muhammad Diaba monitored movements along the highway and now reports.
Right now, I'm standing at Rijana village along Kaduna-Abuja highway. Rijana village is one of the flashpoint area along the dangerous highway. But we can see today, Friday, a lot of travelers are plying the road following the massive deployment of security agencies. Because right from Akilibu up to Olam Farm area, up to Sabangayan, we understand there was a massive security deployment, and also I observed the presence of checkpoints in some of the strategic areas along the highway. I also saw helicopter surveillance, carrying out a surveillance along the highway to boost confidence to most of the motorists that are plying the route.
Despite the public outcry on the insecurity, there's still not no remedy over the
But do you have any special appeal? Because we understand that
the appeal I have now, the federal government have ordered for Tucano aircraft. These peoples can be conquered within 24 hours. As far as the Quench Metesini have been a riot in Kano. That is how I want.
And we are now being joined by Jide Olatui, Development Policy and Security Analyst, to discuss the upsurge in insecurity, especially along the Abuja-Kaduna axis. Jide, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. Now, you saw that report.
Yeah.
So, by your own appraisal, what is the situation along that axis like now?
Yeah, I think, thank you again for having me. I think as expected, the report is quite, animated, and is quite expected because since there's been a diversion now, only in the last month, the Abuja-Kaduna train attack happened, and there were reasons for that. Before the attack, you will notice that there are less people that were plying the Abuja-Kaduna road. Most people, rather, because of the insecurity situation on the road, rather that go for the train. And the bandits and kidnappers and the terrorists have been realized that much of the people are not using the roads again, the highway, Abuja-Kaduna highway. So they went for the platform, the link that people were using to travel between Abuja and Lagos, which of course was the train, the train that they were using. And that attack came, and a lot of people were killed, a lot of people were abducted. One person was, or some few people were, released at the end of the day. But some ransom was actually demanded. So there were reasons for that demand, for that ransom. But now, back to your question, you now have people returning back to using the Abuja-Kaduna highway. So which, of course, is what the terrorists want, so that they can also strike at any time that, they wish to strike. So I think what the government should do, in essence, is to begin to see how they can deploy more of security personnel on that highway to ensure that lives and properties, are secured.
But, I mean, a lot of that is, the Inspector General of Police himself went along that axis. Prior to then, there was a time that they said that, okay, the female policemen will be patrolling that place frequently and things like that. And then we still have the kind of thing that is going on there, which is, and there's a suggestion that there is a growing economy around banditry.
Yes, that's correct.
In that area.
That's very correct.
So how do you handle that?
Yeah, it's the terrible thing that we have not been able to come to terms with in this country concerning terrorism and banditry is that the terrorists and bandits, they are the enemy within. And if you can't deal with the enemy within, then it will be very difficult. I don't know whether you understand what I meant by enemy within.
I'm trying to follow you.
Now, you have people who are, categorized and split into different cells. Within the military, within the police, within the security forces in this country, you have sleeper cells who gather information for the main terrorist actors, for them to strategize and successfully plan their attack. These people, they might not, because they are sleeper cells, they might not be readily identified by people in the security, apparatus that we have in the country. Now, they are the ones that feed information for, and they strategize and feed information for the purposes of attack. The purpose of that is that, otherwise, if the security people that we have in Nigeria, now if the army, the police, and as you may have it, the counterterrorism unit, have intelligence people inside the Boko Haram or inside the terrorist group or inside the banditry group, whenever they want to plan or whenever they're strategizing or want to plan or planning their attack, it will be very easy for the army or for the security apparatus to countermand the attack. Okay. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Now, if you have an enemy within and you don't know the enemy that is streaming out information, all these strategies that the military, the IGP has come to say, okay, there will be a constant patrol. Terrorists will not attack when there is constant patrol. This is the point I'm trying to make.
Okay. So in the short, medium, and long term, if all of these things, according to you, may not work, what then will work?
Now, what will work is, we have said it severally in the past. I just mentioned it now, that there is need for more intelligence, there is need for more strategies. There is need, when you are also, fighting bandits and terrorists, most of the strategies that the government have been using, they're counter-terrorism, counter-banditry, strategies. Now, counter-terrorism, counter-banditry strategies breed terrorism. It breeds terrorism. That is, if you counter terror with terror, of course, what you are going to have is still the same terror.
Okay. In other words, there is
a continuation.
A need for a change of strategy.
There's need for,
unfortunately, we run out of time. Thank you very much, Mr. Jide Oluwatoye, Development Policy and Security Analyst.
Thank you for having me again.
To other stories now. Staff of INEX cleaners on Wednesday called on state government to retain them after the contract between the government and their employers, and this is in Gombe State. The cleaners made a call during a peaceful protest to Government House in Gombe. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
The peaceful protest was expected as they were already in the know that the state government has terminated the contract with their employer, left with little or no option of avoiding joblessness. This seems the best way to get government's attention to their plight as they speak to Trust TV. We are doing our work. We just saw new workers who came through job racketeering. We heard that the government will return us with a good pay, 15,000 naira monthly. However, we are being replaced with new workers.
All of us, we are working in this company, and then they replace someone in our works. That is why the thing is they pay us. We come here to our governor to help us, to take us, bring us the justice in our works.
The state government, through the Gombe State Environmental Protection Agency GOSEFA, said the state government terminated its contract with INEX due to the high cost of operation. The general manager of the agency, Muhammad Kumo, called on the protesters to be patient as plans are underway to retain their employment when it signs a new contract with another company.
GOSEFA here, we are engaging 1,000. Those one that engage in cleaning the drainages. The Cosmopolitan are engaging about 520. That's 1,520. Then the Baptist Green are engaging about 874. Tonight, even 900. That's what we are planning to engage. And their number is, I think, is about 3,100. But we will, inshallah, do our best to see that we have achieved our desired goals, inshallah.
From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Moving to the southeast, youths of Isu and Niocha community in Oka North local government area of Anambra State have protested what they called incessant arrests in the community by personnel of the Anambra State Police Command. The youths called on the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, to urgently come to their aid, as over 80 youths have been arrested on alleged instigation of some wealthy individuals in the community. The youths, in a peaceful protest, marched around the community calling for the release of their colleagues who have remained in detention without any established crime. Placards
He's a murderer, and anybody who murders somebody in his Anocha should go and hang himself. That is our tradition. As it is now, a lot of people, he's a murderer, and anybody who...
From brutality, among others. Reacting to the allegations, the police public relations officer in Anambra State, Tochukwu Ikenga, said the police only got involved in a bid to maintain law and order in the community.
should go and hang himself. That is our tradition. As it is now, a lot of people in Isuanocha are missing. They have arrested more than 100 people, and more than 100 names are still on their list. A lot of atrocities. Commissioner of Police should be aware that we have a crisis in Isuanocha, between Isuanocha and the Onyagolo family and others. And they are terrorists. They are using them. They are using the corrupt police against the community.
They cannot sleep at night. Look at young boys everywhere. At night they're looking for boots to sleep in. This family called Onya Agolo's family, led by Tony, is terrorizing our town with court boys, bad eggs in the police, higher class and other persons. Sometimes people will be like this and start running for nothing. When you ask them, they will say that Tony is chasing after them. many people are missing in our town. So in summary of it all, our town is being devoured by one family and their group called Onya Agolos family. So we are pleading on the state and federal government of Nigeria to come to our aid.
Residents of Minna, the Niger State capital, are finding it more difficult to access water for domestic use, especially during this month of Ramadan. Since most wells that serve as source of water for many households have dried up, a truck of 10 jerrycans now costs between 600 naira and 1,200 naira. Abubakar Kote tells us more.
One thing that the residents of Minna, the Niger State capital, have lived with since beginning of this dry season is water scarcity. For residents of Tudun Fulani Gabas and surrounding areas such as Ngwambiri, the source of water is a pond where animals also drink from, which they drink and use for other domestic activities.
It's the only promising source of water we have in this vicinity. Because pipe-borne water don't work properly. So the selected few individuals that dug over this year, we are selling it. So, and the number of queue, you have to wait for an hour before you get 2 or 3 things. So if you need water, you have to come down here. Because, in fact, you can see the children, the adults, everybody is running down to come and get water so that they satisfy their. We in the area are not buoyant enough to go and buy water that they sell 100 naira per keg. So we have no alternative than to take what we have. We batch, we cook, and sometimes even drink. Every living thing here drinks from this water. And the fortunate thing we are having, you can see their settlement already ahead of the dam. So their sewage from their houses. When it's rain now, it's all magnet down here. But we don't have any alternative.
While there are few private boreholes where the water is sold as low as 10 naira per jerrycan, residents will have to queue up for hours to get water fetched.
Some people bring their can late in the night, around 11 p.m. Some of them will not even get water. It will last for like 3 days. But we are making a lot of effort to see that everybody will have water, especially this month of Ramadan.
We need to not be only in the morning like this. In midnight, at 12 o'clock, we dey here to come line up to get water. If we no come around 12, we no go get water till next day.
Water scarcity was suffering of water is for 1 month now. That some people are coming from area court, some people are coming from New York,
Residents said State Water Board does not supply water to many areas, while wells that have served as a major source of water in many households have dried up this dry season, forcing them to buy from vendors at prices between 600 naira and 1,200, which is also hard to find. And while those with means buy from truck pushers, those without the means trek kilometers to fetch water wherever it's available. In Minna, Abubakar Akote, Trust TV.
Some national stories now. President Muhammadu Buhari says his service as a military head of state and a civilian leader has afforded him the opportunity to see the system of accountability in the country and the mess to be cleaned up. The president said this Friday while receiving a delegation from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, led by the president, Comfort Oluweyitayo, at the State House, Abuja. President Buhari, who acknowledged the contributions of the Institute in ensuring probity, accountability, and transparency, called for more diligence and professionalism. In her remarks, the Minister of Finance, Zainab Samshuna Ahmed, congratulated the President of ICAN and the new management. The President of ICAN appreciated President Buhari and his administration for adhering to best accounting principles and practices to secure and revive the economy, particularly reverting to the January to December budget calendar.
I very much respect your competence as social stabilizers and for accounting of our resources. And I know through my experience, this is what most of us as Nigerians, we don't want to account for the responsibilities given to us. We just like to walk through life like that, which is not possible.
As a female president in a male-dominated profession, you are an example to our young girls of what can be achieved through hard work and diligence. Since your investiture almost a year ago, ICANN, under your leadership, has sought to bring the accounting profession in Nigeria in line with the constantly evolving global environment, and by so doing, give greater recognition to accounting qualifications obtained in Nigeria.
We are delighted that the current administration has remained resolute in aligning with international best practices of having a January to December budget year. We had advocated for this several years before this administration came on board.
President Muhammadu Buhari has condoled with former President Goodluck Jonathan on the demise of his two personal staff in a road accident. The president, in a statement issued Friday by his spokesman, Garba Shehu, joined fellow countrymen in praying for the repose of the souls of the deceased aides of the former president. President Buhari urged their families to see their demise as a sacrifice for the nation. The president, who expressed gratitude to the Almighty God for having President Jonathan escape unhurt from the accident, urged him not to be distracted from his frequent local and international travels linked to peace building at home and abroad. You're watching News Hour. Coming up after the break, secrets of Jigawa edible fruit. Do stay with us.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take another look at our top stories. We told you that an upper Sharia court in Gusau, Zamfara State has sentenced 3 women to 5 years and 6 months imprisonment for desecration of the Holy Quran. And a federal high court in Abuja has struck out 8 of the 15 terrorism charges against IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. And moving on to more news, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, on Friday warned that Nigeria faces a learning crisis. This, the fund says, is taking place even for children that are in schools. At a media dialogue on foundational literacy and numeracy in Kano on Friday, UNICEF communications specialist Geoffrey Njoku said unless Nigeria pays adequate attention to children's rights and ensure quality education for them, the country is unlikely to meet the Sustainable Development Goal 2030. Hamid Oyegbade files the report.
The World Bank says Nigeria is experiencing a learning poverty in which 70% of 10-year-olds in the country cannot understand a simple sentence or perform basic numeracy tasks. This at once threatens the future of the nation. Journalists drawn from different parts of the country converged in Kano for the media dialogue organized by UNICEF to build their capacity on issues around children's rights, particularly on education. UNICEF communication specialist Dr. Chofin Joko said it will be a double jeopardy for Nigeria that the nation has a huge number of out-of-school children while those in school are not learning.
The point we are trying to make is that children are not learning. Before we were talking about, even till today, we talk about 10.5 million Nigerian children not being in school. But now the big issue is that those who are actually in school are not learning. 70% of them are not learning. 70% do not know what they should know at the age of 10. So we're trying to call attention on that fact.
A lecturer at the Department of Mass Communication, Enugu State University of Science and Technology, Dr. Chidiebere Ezinwa, in his presentation said education is a right of children, not a privilege. He urged the media to raise awareness on children's rights, especially as it concerns education.
With respect to the situation on ground in the education sector, we are running into a crisis situation because with the increasing number of our children out of school, running into millions, and 70% of those in school not learning anything, it's obvious that the country is endangered. It's endangered in the sense that in the nearest future, we will lack people with the relevant skills to move the society forward.
Now, a sweet edible fruit, locally called dabino, is the most sought after during Ramadan fast. Dates have a long history of cultivation across Asia and African continents because of its social, religious, and economic relevance. In Nigeria, date palms are cultivated in some northern cities, with Jigawa State as home of the largest number of producers. In this special report, Trust TV's Northwest correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that dates business is still thriving in the state. The report.
Date fruit farming in Jigawa State is said to have been introduced during the trans-Saharan trade when some Arabian merchant brought it with them and later embraced by the people due to the suitability of the land.
Date palm was introduced into the country during the trans-Saharan trade. That means when there was a link, a direct trade between the all northern people, and the people from the Arabian Peninsula, and also through pilgrimage. That is our people that used to go for Hajj. You know, during that time there was no plane, no cars, no anything. They used to use camels and horses to go. So as they go along the way, they brought in it as a souvenir.
Today, date cultivation and production is a multi-billion naira agricultural activities in Jigawa State. Abdul Qadir Abdullahi, like many other farmers, have been maintaining their date palm for over 20 years, which also remains their primary source of income.
You have gone around the date palm and you have seen how great it is, which if you plant it now, within the next 3 years, you will start benefiting from it till the end of time. Date farming is our mainstay. It is helping us to sustain our lives, take care of our family, and even boost the state internally generated revenue. So you can see how important it is for us to keep sustaining it.
The fast expansion in the cultivation of date palm trees in the state reduces importation of dates from other neighboring countries like Niger Republic. This popular dates market in Shuarun tells a story of how traders flocked here to trade on daily basis.
Date palm, with all its economic importance, with all its potentials in generating revenue for the farmer and for the local populace, it has not been given the due attention that it was supposed to be given.
Despite the success story of date farming, farmers believe that if the federal government is to include them on the Anchor Borrowers Program, Jigawa State alone can produce over 70% of the required date fruits in Nigeria. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Some Nigerians have appealed to the relevant authorities to ensure complete financial autonomy for the local government to ensure smooth and efficient running of the affairs of local councils. They made the appeal while analyzing the local government administration in a democratic dispensation in Bauchi State. Adamunam reports.
The local government administration is the closest tier of government to the Nigerian masses. This closeness is designed to ensure that it addresses the immediate needs at the grassroots. However, many believe that this cardinal role has been neglected by the council authorities due to interference from different quarters. Ishola Michael Adeyemi is a social analyst. He says the issue of autonomy is far cry from what is obtainable on ground.
There are projects that the state and the local government are supposed to do together. There's no denying that fact. So a certain amount, percentage can be set aside by the local government and the state. But the majority of the amount that is meant for a particular local government should go to direct for administration. Now, like I said, the problem we have is also the state government or the governor will determine who the local government chairman will employ.
Legal practitioner says the law is clear on the issue of autonomy for local governments, citing Section 7 of the Nigerian Constitution to back up their claim.
Under Section 7 has created the local government. And since it's a third tiers of government, let the INEC also conduct election for the local government, not the state conducting election, because history has proved it that any election conducted by the state government, it is only those who are their favorite that emerge. Sometimes they don't even conduct elections. Sometimes they just write the names of their favorite.
Local government is at the grass level. The local government is where people should be closer to the government. In essence, what I'm saying is the local government are facing a lot of challenges. You discover that the distribution of resources sometimes doesn't go down to the people at the local government. And then I am of the view that the local government should be given the chance, they should be given the autonomy to run its affairs. They should be given the chance to depend on their own.
Stakeholders are unanimous in their belief that if fully implemented, the average Nigerians will be better off. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Youths in the South-South region have joined the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress in Rivers State to vow not to support the presidential ambition of Governor Nyesom Wike. This, they said, is due to the governor's inability to address some issues concerning workers' welfare in the state. The report.
The South-South Youth Initiative at a media conference in Port Harcourt said the current administration of Governor Nyesom Wike has only succeeded in sacrificing the welfare of the state on the altar of partisan politics without recourse to unemployment and economic degradation. National President of the youth group, Imiebe Saviour Oscar, who read out their position during the media conference, threatened to oppose any event that runs contrary to the development of teeming youths and the generality of the state.
We are urging the governor, His Excellency, Chief Nyesom Wike, to put his presidential ambition on hold until Wike fulfills the promises he made to Rivers youth and workers 7 years ago. The governor has, during his campaign, promised to create jobs, empower youth, pay pensions, scholarships and gratuities, as well as bursary to students. But as we speak, none of the promises has been delivered or seen the light of the day. Charity, they say, begins at home.
The youths, while complaining that retirees have been left at the mercy of continuous protests for their right without any positive response from the government, threatened to occupy Government House and protest if Governor Wike goes ahead with his presidential ambition without fulfilling their demands.
Youth of South-South Youth Initiative, SSYI, are joining our chapter in Rivers State to say enough is enough. And we will no longer accept any event that runs contrary to the development of our dear dreaming youth and the generality of the state. So all this we have demanded in 2 months' time. All this We are demanding the payment of gratuities. We are demanding for the immediate payment of pensions to pensioners. We are demanding 60,000 job opportunities, 60,000.
The youth group, while demanding for 60,000 jobs for Rivers youths, issued the government a 2-month ultimatum to address all issues.
More politics from Rivers. A coalition of non-indigenous residing in Rivers State has said the former governor of the state and current Minister of Transportation, Chibuike Amechi, is more qualified than most of the presidential aspirants seeking to occupy the top job in the country. The group, which disclosed this at a press briefing in Port Harcourt, noted that Amechi is eminently qualified, having had over 20 years of experience in government. The report.
Speaking on behalf of non-indigenous residing in Rivers State, the State Secretary Callistus Nwachukwu said the call is born out of a collective desire to call on the Transportation Minister, Chibuike Amechi, to bring to bear his wealth of experience that Nigeria desperately needs to grow. They harped on the ex-governor's antecedents as a former Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly and a 2-time Director General of President Muhammadu Buhari's campaign in 2015 and 2019, stressing that he stands tall as a detribalized Nigerian.
He has a very tall credentials, being a detribalized Nigerian, which he showcased while he was a governor. Even now he is the Minister for Transportation. Most of the things that were moribund in the ministry, today they have come alive. They have come on stream. So if we put him in the highest office of the land, he will turn the arid land to a fertile land.
Other members of the group said Amechi had shown sufficient capacity and will to take the best decisions for the overall interest of Nigeria. They emphasized that since Nigeria returned to democratic rule in 1999, Amechi had been schooled in governance and political diplomacy, describing him as the man divinely prepared for the job.
We know him, and we are telling other parts of Nigerians, he's a dogged and fearless fellow. And when you trust him with a position, he do his best. And we are calling him in a strong term, without any hesitation, that he should come out and declare to run for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria come 2023.
We have so many reasons why we call him. During his tenure as governor, Rotimi Amechi has built more than 120 clinics in Rivers State and free of charge for everybody, both indigenous and non-indigenous. And also he built more than 500 schools in Rivers State.
The Zamfara state government has inaugurated the Health Influencers, Promoters and Community Management Strategy, CHIPS. The project, according to the state government, is to take healthcare services to the doorstep of rural dwellers. The report.
The Community Health Influencers and Promoters CHIPS project is an initiative of the Primary Healthcare Development Board and the Executive Secretary, Dr. Ismail Tukur. The State Deputy Governor, Hassan Nasiha, who inaugurated the project on behalf of Governor Bello Mohammed, described the initiative as a major milestone in his administration healthcare efforts. He said the project also underscores government's commitment to increase access to healthcare for women and children from birth to 11 months, especially those in rural and hard-to-reach areas in the state.
This remarkable event is a major milestone in our healthcare delivery effort and demonstrates our administration commitment to increasing access to healthcare to women and children, particularly those in rural and hard-to-reach areas of the state. It is our desire to focus more on the people living in the rural areas and the population of our society, such as pregnant women and children from birth to 11 months of age.
The State Commissioner for Health, Abubakar Aliyu, noted that primary health care is the cornerstone of state health policy, adding that it is central to the attainment of universal health coverage and the Sustainable Development Goal 3. The launch climaxed at a call on the 14 local government sole administrators in Zamfara State to see the health project as a call to make healthcare services a vital part of their agenda.
The Nigeria Erosion and Watershed Management Project, NEWMAP, says it would continue to give priority to communities affected by erosion as a way of improving the life of the people in those areas. Some officials of NEWMAP stated this while inspecting rehabilitated erosion sites in Lafia, Nasarawa State. Abubakar Abdullahi has the report.
Was among those affected by erosion in some parts of the state, but the intervention by the Nigeria Watershed Management Project has brought succor to the people here. The managers of NEWMAP activities in Nigeria say commitment by the benefiting communities of its project will encourage the World Bank to inject more resources towards improving the life of the people.
One of the things that we are looking at doing is actually to work with communities such as yours. So it's really impressive to see that there's already an established community interest group, and we've taken note of your concern, which is how to help you move from manual production to a more advanced production, and also the use of solar system. And
you see, whatever you do, if you do it well and you excel and you show real commitment in it, definitely one day somebody is going to notice it and something very good will follow.
Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State, on his part, commended NEWMAP for embarking on projects that touch the lives of the citizens.
My joy actually comes from the fact that at least you can hear directly from some of the people that you have impacted on their lives. This area during the rainy season used to be a very no-go area. It was a very difficult area to pass by. Today, just like they have passed through the testimonies you have had, they are able actually to carry out their activities effectively, and they are able to cross and connect with their friends and other business partners just across.
Representatives of the benefiting communities commended NEWMAP for the intervention and promised to safeguard the project.
Today, what has been as a blockneck to us, as a bottleneck, has been removed, despite the fact that the construction of this drainage and culvert has really increased our life.
Several communities across the state that before now suffered erosion and other environmental disasters benefited from the NEWMAP project. Abubakar Abdullahi, Trust TV News, Lafia.
Now to business. As the deadline for SIM-NIN linkage ran out, the federal government directed that all outgoing calls on every unlinked SIM card be barred. Chamunda Beng, who was at the National Identity Management Commission Registration Center, reports that the blockage will render 75 million unlinked SIM cards unable to make calls. Let's take a look.
After pushing back the date several times, the deadline for the NIN SIM linkage ran out on the 31st of March. Since then, the federal government has ordered telecommunication companies to bar all outgoing calls for about 75 million SIM cards that have been unlinked. We're currently outside to seek the opinion of the people on this particular matter.
I was actually affected because my line was disconnected. The fact that it's been disconnected, I cannot still browse with my phone, you get. And the thing is just funny that even I have people around me in my house that have actually done this NIN stuff, but your number still was disconnected. They can only call them, but they can't make calls. If they want to do NIN, once your NIN is done, this thing can automatically be connected to your number. But you see, have to stress people. You want to go and do this thing, and some people will tell you to pay them. Like I met a guy that I was telling him about my NIN. Like I want to get, the guy started paying 15K to get it that day.
It's quite frustrating for me, and it's a pathetic something, knowing that most people, they cannot do their businesses. There are a lot of things that cannot go on when you don't have communication. You understand? So I don't really have much to say about the burden of line, but I think before now, the federal government has issued an instruction for people to link up their NIN number to their mobile contacts.
I know this NIN thing has been going on for a long time, since last year, and to be honest, a lot of people, a lot of us, I included, have been stubborn in doing it. But as you can see, yesterday, day before yesterday, my line was cut off, so I'm here to get it done.
It could be recalled that the federal government extended the deadline for SIM-NIN linkage from October 31st, 2021 to April 4th, 2022 to allow the numerous subscribers who could not link their SIM with their NIN enough time to do so. The exercise was said to have captured 125 million users, leaving about 75 million barred, a situation which put the federal government and telecommunication companies at risk of losing 66.74 billion naira. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
On the foreign scene, the European Union on Friday formally adopted its fifth package of sanctions against Russia since the country's February 24 invasion of Ukraine, including bans on the import of coal, wood, chemicals and other products. EU's top diplomat Joseph Borrell said the latest sanctions were adopted following the atrocities committed by Russian armed forces in Bucha and other places under Russian occupation. The measures also prevent many Russian vessels and trucks from accessing the EU, further crippling trade, and will ban all transactions with 4 Russian banks, including VTB. The ban on coal imports will be fully effective from the second week of August. No new contract can be signed from Friday, when sanctions are to be published in the EU's official journal. Existing contracts will have to be terminated by the second week of August, meaning that Russia can continue to receive payments from the EU on coal exports until the end. And that's it on News Hour. For more news, connect with us across all our social media platforms. I am Diron Onefade. Thanks for watching.